Good evening, sir. My name is Anmol Agarwal and my registration number is 22MIS0174. So in this video, I'm going to explain you what is Jackson Structure Programming, in short called as JSP. Jackson Structure Programming was developed in early 1970s by a person named Michael Jackson. JSP is a program design method for systems which are realizable as a single sequential process and have well-defined input and output data streams. It is good for data processing applications. Jackson Structure Programming (JSP) is a method for program design and modeling in the small form. It begins with considerations about what is known and develops a program design that becomes more complete as a model is put through continuous iterations. It emerged in the 1970s as a design method that concentrated on the structure of data using data structure methods because it builds the program design from an incomplete model. JSP structures the program and data in terms of sequences, iterations, and selection. The method begins by describing a program's input in terms of the four fundamental component types: fundamental operations, sequences, iterations, and selections. It then goes on to describe the program outputs in the same way JSP uses a diagramming notation to describe the structure of inputs, outputs, and the programs with diagram elements for each of the fundamental components. JSP only uses one kind of diagram, the JSP diagram. So it describes both static data structure and dynamic program function. Jackson structure diagram. So basically, there are three components of Jackson structure diagram: sequence, selection, and iteration. There are several rules for drawing a diagram. Sequence is represented by unmarked boxes and runs from left to right. Selection is represented by boxes marked with circles. Last one is default, that is conditionalist or else. Iteration is represented by an asterisk box. These three forms cannot be mixed at a single branch. Basically, these three things are the components of a JSP. Step 1. How to draw a JSP diagram, in short called Jackson Structure Diagram. There are 5 steps to draw a JSP. So the first step is draw a Jackson Structure Diagram for each input and output data stream. Second step is merge all of these to form a Jackson structure diagram. We have to merge the two diagrams, that is from the input and the output, to form a JSP. Third point, list operations and the program needs to perform and allocate each one to a block in the program JSG. Fourth one, convert the program block into text in order without specific condition for any of the decision points. Fifth step, add the conditions for each selection and iteration. There are several characteristics of JSP. JSP emphasizes algorithm development, so it uses diagrams in conjunction with pseudocode process specifications. Results in program structure that reflects task structure. JSP decomposes procedures. It does not address modularity. Step 2. Transform from static data sequence into a dynamic, that is time ordered operation sequence. First two steps take over half of the total design effort. Only one kind of diagram is used, but it is an interpretational changes. So we'll look at this example to understand JSP more easily. The example is a petrol filling station has a number of self-service pumps. That is, the customer will fill the petrol himself, each of which can be used to dispense both diesel and unleaded petrol. There are two things that can be dispensed from the petrol pump: diesel and unleaded petrol. There's a small local computer in each pump that maintains the display of price and the volume of the pump. When the customer re-returns the pump nozzle to its socket, the computer sends a record to the cash console computer containing the details of the current transaction as a sequence. What are the conditions sent? That is pump identity, grade of fuel, and the volume of fuel. That is the input that is given. The problem is design the software that receives these messages. For each message it receives, the program is required to generate a line on the printer in front of the cashier giving the details of the transaction in terms of what is the pump identity, that is the pump number, volume of the fuel, and total cost, that is the output which is given to the customer. So, step 1, draw the basic diagram of JSP, that is from two sides, from the input side and from the output side. In this case, the single input stream and the single output stream are drawn. Output stream is well defined. Pump stream record, pump identity, grade of fuel, volume of fuel, diesel and unleaded. So basically pump record stream. In that we'll record. What we'll record? We'll record the pump identity, grade of the fuel and volume of the fuel. And grade of the fuel has two things, either diesel or petrol. That is why here O are drawn at the top of the box. Sales record stream, it is the output. So what will be given as output? Pump identity, volume of fuel, and the total amount or cost of the fuel. Step 2, we'll merge those three. Merge direct since input and output JSD are similar. They both are similar, so they will be merged. Computational approach brings input and output together. Verification. Check that the program tree is consistent with consuming input C and the producing output P. Whatever is getting consumed, whatever is the input, that will be represented as C. Whatever is the output will be represented as P. So here we can see that C means records. Records will be taken also, records will be given also, new record will be generated also and given also. Grade of the fuel. Grade of the fuel only the input, not the output. We won't tell what is the grade of the fuel. And total cost. How can the total cost be input? It will only be outputted. Step 3. Step 3 is list the operations and allocate to program blocks. It means that in step 3, we'll number it. We'll number the inputs and we'll number the outputs. We'll number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. First, we'll number all the inputs, then we'll number all the outputs. Since diesel and unleaded are in the same section of grade of fuel, they both will be numbered as 2. Now we come to the step 4. Step 4 is it is converted into a text. All the diagram that we have made is converted into a simple text. Simple text in the sense of we'll write just things which happen in diagram in form of letters and alphabets. So what is the first thing that happens? Records are opened. We give the identity, we give the input. So what is the first thing we give? We give pump identity, then we print pump identity. We get the grade of the fuel, get volume of the fuel, print volume of the fuel and calculate the total cost. Then print the total cost, then close the records. This is the outline of the program. And this comes the last step. The last step is add condition. We add more specific condition. If this is there, how do we calculate total cost? How do we calculate this total cost and how total cost is multiplied by the price? So open the records for each record, get pump identity, print pump identity, get the grade of fuel, get volume of fuel, print volume of fuel. If grade is equal to diesel, then the cost will be diesel price into volume. If grade is equal to petrol, then the cost will be petrol price into volume. And end by printing the cost of this and a bill of it, and then close the records. So here is the summary of JSP, Jackson Structure Programming steps using JSD. So first step is draw the Jackson structure diagram of both the input side and both the output side. Second, merge the program into one. As if we are using input, then use P as notation. If we are using output, then use C as notation. The third step is list operations and allocate. We'll number it. We'll first number the inputs as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we'll number the output as 7, 8, 9, 10. And then whatever is used as input in two sections bifurcates at 2. We'll give them the same number. Like if for grade of the fuel we are using petrol and diesel, we'll both number them 2. The fourth step is convert sequence of block to text. Whatever diagram we have created, we'll convert them into a simple form of text. Whatever is in the diagram will be just converted into simple form of alphabets and letters. The fifth condition is add conditions for selection and iteration. The blocks of text will be converted to more precise things. That is, if the price of petrol and diesel is different, then both of them will be calculated differently. We'll write if else conditions such that if petrol is used, if diesel is used, we'll write end if conditions. If the customer stops the transaction in between only, the transaction will be cancelled. We'll all write all these situations, and then this will be step 5 will be concluded. So I hope that my video was helpful to you and it made you understand JSP in a better way. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.